Jurassic Park changed some things for us. First of all, nobody knew what a velociraptor was before this. I mean, the paleontologists did, but, we grew up liking dinosaurs. It was never one of the, the big five that we thought about. We thought about T-Rexes and
T-Rexes, Triceratops, Stegosaurus.
Yeah, Stegosaurus, Pteranodons, not velociraptors. Yeah. And yet, all of a sudden, since then, Velociraptor's like a badass dinosaur. So that changed stuff. But are there movies that just fundamentally changed the history of filmmaking? And was this one?
It was. It wasn't necessarily because of the writing. It wasn't because of the directing. It wasn't because of anything else. I would point everybody towards movies from the 80s. There was a documentary about movies from the 80s, and they covered Jurassic Park, and they talked about this. There was a moment where they were going to do all the dinosaurs as stop motion.
Okay.
Because we didn't know that CGI was there yet. And in fact, there was a guy who was working on CGI, and everybody in the studio was telling him, don't do it. We're not going to use that. It's not there yet. And one day they strategically walked one of the producers by his office and had it up on the screen. And the producer walked in and was like, what is that? And so they kind of like went around, their bosses to show off what was possible with CGI. And so CGI was used. And it was one of the first major motion pictures that used CGI. And so in that regard, it was so visually cool that it changed filmmaking. But it also took it being a great movie for people to pay attention to it.
Sure.
Like when we think about something like Avatar was an absolute spectacle. But I don't think that the story was there enough that people cared about, the second movie. The second movie still did obviously very, very well, but it didn't break the records that Avatar did. I certainly didn't see it, and now each one, it has less and less of an audience. So the story has to still be great to sort of show off where we are technologically with filmmaking. But yeah, the Jurassic Park was the perfect mix of a great story, great director, and a new sort of filmmaking element that had never been seen before. And yeah, it did then change cinema. Everybody wanted to do that sort of CGI.
You're trying to tell me that Avatar's quest for unobtainium isn't groundbreaking?
I mean, that had to have been a placeholder, and they just forgot to change the name of it.
Back to how Jurassic Park changed filmmaking. Do you remember what it was like seeing it for the first time?
I do. I mean, I was so blown away. I remember I saw it 5 times that summer because I was like 13 or something. I think I was 13. I think it came out in 93. But yeah, I mean, I was a teenager. I mean, that was the first time I really understood the power of cinema.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, Josh, for me, was in the music.
Oh, sure.
That music, that score was so beyond incredible. It was just something I'd never heard before. And, you talk about that opening, not the opening scene, but like when they first visit the island and the helicopter comes over and that, magnificent vista and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, just as a kid, I'm like, whoa, oh my God, what am I even seeing? And I want that feeling still today. Like, I love a really good composition because I think it takes me back to when I was a kid and saw Jurassic Park. That's one of the reasons why I loved Interstellar so much. The music in Interstellar, Hans Zimmer's use of the organs was just something I'd never heard before. And that soundtrack is so incredibly amazing. Every bit of that composition is incredible.
I remember seeing it for the first time and going, that's an actual dinosaur.
Yeah.
As opposed to, the stop. I had grown up with stop motion movies or the stop motion Tauntaun.
RoboCop 2, I remember was it that, some stop motion and
Yep, the relatively great Sinbad movies that and Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans had
a lot of stop motion. I've heard that they made some sequels.
They did make some sequels,
and pretty recently.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
So, Josh, I
want you to hit me as hard as you can.